China in the crucible, a nation engulfed in weather, social and hidden crises, opening a nation scorched and submerged. Welcome to today's special program where we dive deep into the chaotic tapestry of a China grappling with an unprecedented crisis. From melting asphalt roads in Guangzhou to freak summer snowstorms in Gansu, from electric vehicles exploding under blistering heat to cries for help censored on social media, the country is facing a perfect storm of natural disasters, societal unrest and cover-ups by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. In traditional Chinese cosmology, such extreme weather is not merely natural, but a portent of cosmic imbalance, a warning of a regime teetering on the brink of collapse. Today, we uncover the hidden truths, exposing the reality of catastrophic weather and the devastating consequences borne by the Chinese people. Like, subscribe, and join us as we unravel the truth behind this nightmare. China is being incinerated by an unprecedented heat wave, with temperatures in many regions surpassing 40 degrees, even hitting 43 degrees C in Sichuan and Yunnan. In Shandong's Weihai City, a record-breaking 42.4 degrees C on July 5 caused festival-goers to collapse en masse from heatstroke, with ambulances racing through the streets. Firefighters sprayed water to cool the crowds, but the heat remained unrelenting. In Guangzhou, asphalt roads cracked and buckled, some sections exploding due to thermal expansion resembling a lunar landscape. A viral Douyin video showed a man frying an egg on the sidewalk using only sunlight. He placed a cast iron pan on the concrete, poured oil, cracked an egg, and within minutes it was golden and cooked. Ground temperatures in Hunan hit a staggering 74.1 degrees C on June 24th, hot enough to roast an ant in 3 seconds, as a local newspaper described. The heat doesn't stop at quirky experiments. A shocking YouTube video captured an electric vehicle in Shenzhen spontaneously combusting due to the 38-degree heat. The vehicle's lithium-ion battery couldn't withstand the temperature, exploding in the middle of the street and sending passers-by into a panic. This wasn't an isolated incident. At least 3 electric vehicle explosions were reported in Guangdong in July, raising fears about technological safety in extreme weather. We're scared to drive electric cars. Who knows when they'll turn into bombs, one driver posted on WeChat before the post was swiftly deleted. Deadly heat wave and debt crisis. China's summer of suffering. A merciless heat wave is sweeping across China, turning summer into a deadly furnace, claiming lives and plunging millions into a spiral of crushing debt. Temperatures in many areas have soared past 40 degrees C, with road surfaces scorching at over 60 degrees C, causing people to collapse in the streets. In Changsha, Hunan Province, the 120 emergency hotline dispatched ambulances 105 times in a single week to handle heatstroke cases, with 5 critically ill patients rushed to the ICU at the Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine. In Shenzhen, 122 people sought emergency care for heatstroke over 30 days. 9 of whom teetered on the brink of death, primarily construction workers and outdoor service staff. Doctors warn that if body temperature isn't lowered within 6 hours, the risk of multi-organ failure spikes to 83%, with a mortality rate as high as 70%. For every 0.5 degrees increase in body temperature, the risk of death triples, making young and middle-aged adults the primary victims. The heat doesn't just kill it, exposes heart-wrenching tragedies. At Nanchang University in Yantai, Students sweltered in dormitories without air conditioning, left with only fans blowing hot air. One student fainted in class, and a dormitory manager known for caring for stray cats died of heatstroke. Enraged students placed flowers in memoriam and protested for justice, but the university blamed an outsourced contractor who in turn denied responsibility. The school's budget is 29.7 billion yuan. Yet they can't afford a single air conditioner, an outraged student posted on X before their account was locked. In Linyi, Shandong, rumors spread of hundreds of heat-related deaths, with crematoriums overwhelmed processing over 100 bodies in days. A Hebei resident shared, "The crematorium near my home handled 160 bodies in 48 hours, with a waiting list stretching to number 90 by noon." Netizens accused authorities of falsifying weather reports, listing temperatures at 38 to 39 degrees, when the reality felt like being burned alive. A Hunan resident fumed. "They say 38 degrees C, but the roads are definitely over 50 degrees. The debt crisis deepens this grim picture. According to statistics, 920 million Chinese are drowning in debt, with 450 million unable to repay. A 37-year-old single mother in Tangshan shared, "I owe 1.8 million yuan after a failed business. My bank account is frozen, and I borrow from neighbors just to keep the electricity on. Debt has frozen my life." Otto, a 25-year-old, lamented, "I owe 400,000 yuan. For guaranteeing my father's loan. My monthly salary vanishes instantly. I can't afford good food or shopping, but the debt still crushes me." In Yunnan, a young woman rode a motorcycle for 7 hours under 40 degrees heat to find her abandoned dog suffering severe second-degree burns. Netizens are calling for transparency, sharing gut-wrenching stories of loss and despair. The heatwave and debt crisis are strangling hope, leaving China steeped in grief and uncertainty. Water and power crisis. Sichuan and Yunnan plunged into darkness. The heatwave has triggered a dual crisis of water and power shortages. Sichuan and Yunnan, China's largest hydropower hubs, are grappling with dried-up rivers and lakes. Sichuan, which generates over 20% of the nation's hydropower, and Yunnan, home to 6 of China's 10 largest hydropower plants, are operating at minimal capacity as water levels have plummeted by 60% compared to last year. The Baihetan Dam, the world's largest, is nearly paralyzed. Yunnan's government has gone so far as to urge residents to bathe only 3 to 4 times a month to conserve water, sparking outrage. "They're telling us to live like it's wartime, but they caused this disaster." In Shenzhen, a wealthy city where home prices range from 8 to 10 million yuan per square meter, power outages lasting over 6 hours in 36 degrees C heat have left residents desperate. One resident recounted, "I poured water on the ground, and it evaporated in 3 seconds." In Guangxi, a once-in-a-millennium drought has left 83,000 people without drinking water, forcing them to rely on contaminated river water. Fire trucks have been deployed to water trees, but as one resident lamented, "It's just a temporary fix. We're dying of thirst." Dual disasters, from heat waves to July. Snow. Beyond the heat. China is reeling from bizarre weather anomalies. In Gansu, a July snowstorm blanketed grasslands with snow piling up to half a car wheel's height. "Yesterday we were burning. Today our tents are buried in snow and a foal froze to death," a herder recounted. In Xinjiang, sandstorms and tornadoes reduced highway visibility to 0, flipping motorcycles with their fierce winds. In Beijing, gusts reaching level 13, the strongest in a decade, tore down billboards, uprooted over 200 trees, and left one dog's face distorted like a seal's, as a netizen humorously described. In Guizhou, hailstones the size of eggs smashed roofs and crops, leaving farmers in tears. The whole harvest is ruined. In Jiangsu, strangely shaped hail, resembling coronaviruses, shattered car windshields and caused injuries. These phenomena evoke the ancient tale of Dou Yi, whose wrongful execution brought snow in June, signaling cosmic imbalance. According to the I Ching, July snow is an omen of great calamity, hinting at chaos in leadership and society. The heavens are angry, one X-user commented before their post was deleted. Agricultural devastation, crops and livestock, wiped out. The heat and disasters have ravaged Chinese agriculture. In Guangxi, lotus carp raised in rice paddies died en masse due to overheated water, while rice withered and rotted. A pig farm in Sichuan lost 5,000 pigs when its ventilation system failed during a blackout, incurring losses exceeding 10 million yuan. In Jiangxi, floods turned fields into swimming pools with damages estimated at 10 billion yuan, affecting 290,000 people. A Guizhou farmer wept. Hail smashed our crops. We have nothing left. Xi Jinping's deforestation for rice policy has worsened the crisis. Aimed at ensuring food security amid potential Taiwan Strait conflicts, the policy mandates clearing forests for farming on sloped land, leading to severe erosion and flooding. In some areas, farmers plant rice on arid soil to report compliance, only to abandon the crops to die. They force us to do pointless work, destroying both the land and our livelihoods, a Yunnan farmer fumed. Social unrest. A wave of resistance erupts. The heat and disasters have ignited social discontent. At Yantai University, students launched an air conditioning revolution, plastering banners that read, "Where's our tuition going? We need air conditioners to survive." At Jingzhou Technical College, a student's death from heatstroke sparked parental protests demanding compensation, but the school deflected blame. In Guiyang, residents accused authorities of exacerbating floods by releasing dam water without warning. "They opened the dam and drowned our homes without a word," one furious resident said. The story of Brother 800 in Henan further inflamed tensions. Nicknamed for an 800 yuan traffic fine, the man live-streamed his defiance after being beaten by police, decrying systemic injustice. His video went viral before being censored, sparking the 800 movement as a symbol of public anger at the CCP's negligence, from disaster mismanagement to silencing dissent. CCP cover-ups. Secrets under pressure. The CCP has scrambled to control the narrative through ruthless censorship. Posts about deaths, damages, or unrest on WeChat and Douyin are deleted instantly. They pull bodies from the mud, but the news says nothing. A Guizhou resident whispered on X. Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing, tasked with disaster response, visited industrial zones instead of flood-hit areas. They're too busy fighting for power to save people, commentator Li Ling told The Times. Political instability is also simmering. Rumors of Xi Jinping's weakening grip on power are rife, with Vice Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Yuxia, reportedly consolidating influence challenging Xi. The mysterious death of former Premier Li Keqiang in 2023 remains a stain, with whispers of foul play. Meanwhile, the crisis of missing persons, 1 million annually, including 200,000 children, fuels suspicions of organ harvesting. Not a fly escapes their cameras yet. Thousands vanish. One netizen raged. The U.S. House's H.R. 1540 bill targeting organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners has heightened global alarm. China, on the brink of chaos. China faces a perfect storm, scorching heat, relentless disasters, water and power shortages, devastated agriculture, and erupting social unrest. From exploding electric vehicles in Shenzhen to July snow in Gansu, from fake fields planted to appease deforestation policies to censored cries for help, the nation is sinking into chaos. The CCP may hide the truth, but it cannot conceal the heavens' wrath or the people's fury. Is this an omen of a regime's collapse? Share this story, demand accountability, and join us in exposing China's hidden crisis. In July 2025, China is being scorched by an unprecedented summer. Temperatures in numerous provinces have soared past 40 degrees Celsius, with Zhengzhou, Henan hitting a staggering 44 degrees Celsius, evoking memories of the 1743 Qing dynasty heatwave that claimed over 10,000 lives in just 12 days. From bustling metropolises like Beijing and Shanghai to remote rural areas in Hunan, the nation feels like it's been thrown into a giant furnace. But this heat is more than a weather phenomenon. It's a brutal test exposing deep cracks in China's economic, social, and political systems. As citizens grapple with blistering temperatures, a series of electric vehicle EV explosions, and an eerie silence from the Chinese Communist Party CCP, raise a pressing question. Is the government concealing something to protect its image as a technological superpower and economic juggernaut? Record-breaking temperatures. A nation in the furnace. The heat of 2025 has exceeded all meteorological forecasts. In Wuhan, air temperatures reached 39 degrees Celsius, but surface temperatures were far more extreme. Asphalt roads hit 74.7 degrees Celsius, and black cars reached a blistering 89.4 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt shoe soles or deform plastic sandals. In Hunan, asphalt roads cracked with loud pops buckling like giant black snakes, and scattering debris posing risks for winter, when rainwater seeps in and freezes further damaging infrastructure. In Beijing, humidity spiked to 76% on July 2nd, surpassing even Shenzhen, turning the air into a suffocating sauna where sweat couldn't evaporate, pushing people toward heat stroke. Even the typically temperate northeast wasn't spared. Changchun recorded 35 degrees C, while Shenyang, despite recent rain, hovered above 30 degrees C, considered cool compared to the rest of the country. 6 regions, including Sichuan, Chongqing, Hubei, Hunan, Beijing, and Tianjin, reported temperatures between 43 to 44 degrees C. Other areas, except Inner Mongolia, Yunnan, and Guizhou, lingered around 40 degrees. This isn't just a heat wave, it's a full-blown climate crisis, testing the resilience of humans, animals, and infrastructure. Heat stroke, the silent killer. Heat stroke, with a mortality rate exceeding 50%, has become a deadly threat across China. In Qingdao, a dormitory manager at Qingdao University died in a sweltering apartment equipped only with a weak electric fan, no air conditioning amid 35 degrees C heat. In Wuhan, a 73-year-old man fainted at home after avoiding air conditioning to save money, only to face medical bills far higher than his electricity costs. A tragic case in Qingdao saw a young man perish inside a broken-down electric vehicle, with no windows, the cabin turning into an oven, in just 20 minutes. His final words, "It's so hot, I'm going to die," became a grim prophecy. The 3 warning signs of heat stroke: body temperature above 40 degrees, trembling or seizures, and altered consciousness are often ignored, as many believe they can simply tough it out. But the human body isn't a machine. It can't reverse the process of organs being cooked. In Shandong, students fainted in unair-conditioned dormitories, forcing institutions like Shandong Foreign Language Vocational Technical College to cancel final exams and evacuate students. At the 2025 New Youth Music Festival in Weihai, dozens collapsed from heat stroke, with firefighters spraying water on the crowd to cool them down. The heat doesn't just sap health, it claims lives, especially among the most vulnerable. Life in the furnace. A cry for help. The relentless heat has transformed how Chinese citizens live, work, and survive. In Wuhan, a poultry farm resorted to hosing down chickens, with the owner grimly stating, "It doesn't matter if they lay eggs, the priority is keeping them alive." In Nanning, a shrimp leapt onto a stove and was cooked by surface heat, while in Chongqing, dozens of eggs hatched into chicks during transport due to temperatures exceeding 40 degrees. In Tianjin, a truck carrying over 190 pigs saw the animals faint from heat stroke, forcing firefighters to douse them with high-pressure hoses. Construction workers, delivery drivers, and sanitation workers, those without access to air-conditioned offices, face daily heat stroke risks. A worker in Changsha, Hunan, collapsed and convulsed under 40 degrees C sun, while an elderly woman in Wuhan worked outdoors in mandatory long-sleeved uniforms, braving the heat because her family needed the income. A construction worker's words echoed a desperate reality. What makes me work in 40 degrees heat? Not love or dreams, but poverty. I have no money, so I must work. Meanwhile, high-temperature subsidies are mocked as a joke. Office workers in air-conditioned spaces sipping Starbucks receive a few $dozen monthly, while outdoor laborers get no support, often buying their own cooling drinks. Weather forecast controversy, manipulated information. A disturbing trend has sparked outrage across China. Official weather forecasts consistently report 39 degrees C, even when citizens measure outdoor temperatures exceeding 40 degrees C. Why the fixed number? Many suspect the government is deliberately keeping temperatures below 40 degrees C to avoid triggering labor protection regulations. By law, work outdoors must halt above 40 degrees C, and between 37 to 40 degrees C shifts cannot exceed 6 hours with breaks to minimize sun exposure. Yet these rules are rarely enforced. A furious blogger on Weibo wrote, "The 39 degrees C forecast forces workers to keep toiling, generating wealth for the government, while office workers in cool rooms get heat subsidies. This lack of transparency fuels social unrest and raises questions about the CCP's information control. Is this an attempt to downplay the heatwave crisis to maintain an image of stability and economic growth? Some even call the 39 degrees C figure a state secret manipulated to prevent labor protests or international scrutiny." Electric vehicles. Green ambition turned nightmare. Amid the scorching summer, China's electric vehicle industry, a cornerstone of its global green ambitions, faces a firestorm of criticism. From Jiangsu and Zhejiang to Shanghai and Guangdong, a spate of EV fires and explosions has shaken public trust. On May 12, 2025, in Zhenjiang, a Carismel Elephant X7 electric truck burst into flames just 3 days after purchase, leaving a charred frame. The owner received no compensation from the manufacturer or insurer. In Wenzhou, an EV exploded in a mall parking lot, causing over 3 million yuan in damages. More alarmingly, in Nanjing, an EV caught fire while charging in an apartment complex basement, destroying multiple families' assets. The June 2025 fire on the Morning My Midas ship in the Pacific, carrying over 800 Chinese EVs, sent a global warning about lithium battery quality. The blaze, likely sparked by an exploding battery batch, left the ship a drifting heap of ash before it sank. The cause: high temperatures, destabilized battery systems compounded by lax production standards and inadequate safety testing. While Europe mandates rigorous battery tests under extreme conditions like heat impact and fire spread, Chinese manufacturers often test only in ideal lab settings, ignoring real-world scenarios like 45 degrees C heat or fast charging outdoors. Lax oversight. Who's accountable? The central government's silence on EV fires raises serious questions. There's been no recall, no national investigation, and no nationwide warning. A leaked symposium revealed a Beijing Jiaotong University engineer stating, "Lithium batteries are inherently unstable in high heat. When testing is rushed and cheap materials are used to cut costs, fires are inevitable." Yet manufacturers point fingers at batteries controllers or even users. A high-profile case on National Highway 3N18 near Chengdu saw an EV burn to ashes. The owner, a tech engineer, posted maintenance records and photos online only for the post to be deleted within 12 hours. A grassroots movement urging a boycott of domestic EVs emerged, causing stock prices of listed automakers in Shenzhen and Shanghai to plummet. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology announced stricter battery safety regulations starting July 2026, a move critics call too late. In the first half of 2025, Shanghai recorded 68 of 90 vehicle fires linked to EVs, yet these figures never appear in mainstream media. Is this an effort to protect the EV industry, which produces over 8 million vehicles annually and drives China's export economy? Structural crisis beyond a hot summer. The heatwave isn't just a weather issue. It reveals structural flaws in Chinese society. In agriculture, parched soil and scorched roots have led to reduced yields or crop failures threatening food security. Food prices have surged, pushing farmers into hardship. In manufacturing, soaring air conditioning demand strains, power grids, heat-stroked workers disrupt production lines and equipment overheats. At ports, high temperatures halt equipment and limit workers' hours, causing logistics bottlenecks. The healthcare system is overwhelmed by heat stroke exhaustion and cardiovascular cases, particularly among the elderly, children, and outdoor workers. In Wuhan, the Institute of Occupational Disease Prevention reported 155 heat stroke cases in 2025, with 5 deaths, the first in 3 years. Meanwhile, urban expansion with concrete and asphalt intensifies the urban heat island effect. A netizen remarked, "Every year is hotter and lasts longer. If we don't act, some areas will become unlivable." Yet the government prioritizes infrastructure projects like highways, nuclear power plants, and high-speed rail over investments in urban greening or improving living conditions. Citizens on the edge. Fighting to survive. Amid the crisis, Chinese citizens are finding ways to protect themselves. Grassroots consumer groups on Weibo, Douyin, and Jihu, like the 40,000-member EV survivors, share information on substandard EVs and call for collective lawsuits. However, China's legal system doesn't recognize class action suits for industrial products, forcing individuals to fight costly, time-consuming battles. A Guangzhou woman lamented, "I knew EVs could catch fire, but without a gas car license plate, I had to buy one to take my kids to school." The government pushes EVs, but when they burn, no one speaks up. The lack of options, coupled with tight media control, leaves citizens feeling abandoned. A viral social media comment captured the sentiment. If the government won't protect us from dangerous products they produce, who are they protecting? In Shandong, students sleep on library or supermarket floors to escape unair-conditioned dorms. In Zhengzhou, construction workers shed uniforms and nap on subway station floors to find relief. The CCP secrets, under political pressure. The CCP's silence on the heat wave and EV crises is no accident. Electric vehicles are a strategic asset in the global green race, and any failure risks tarnishing China's technological superpower image. Leaked internal reports reveal the government is aware of battery quality issues, but economic growth and export pressures lead to suppression of the truth. A Quality Supervision Bureau official admitted in a private interview, growth pressures prevent a comprehensive supply chain audit. Another Beijing official was blunt. When EVs became a symbol of modernization, no one dared speak the truth, for fear of opposing historical progress. Information control, from fixed 39° C forecasts to censoring EV fire posts, fuels public discontent. An anonymous engineer on Jihu wrote, "If safety standards were enforced in 2023, 80% of this year's EV fires could have been avoided." The post was removed within 4 hours, but spread to millions, signaling public anxiety beyond the government's control. A call to action before it's too late. The record heat is more than a weather event. It's a warning about China's developmental flaws. While the CCP touts industrial ambition and national image, citizens pay with their health, property, and trust. EV fires from Zhenjiang to Nanjing aren't mere technical mishaps, but evidence of rushed production and lax oversight. The heat has melted asphalt-cooked eggs and claimed lives of impoverished workers. More terrifying is the system's silence, a system prioritizing economic and political interests over human lives. Netizens plead, stop building nuclear plants, highways, and concrete jungles. green our cities, and protect people before it's too late? Will the government listen or continue concealing secrets to maintain its superpower? Facade. A portrait of a nation in crisis. The summer of 2025 paints a vivid picture of a China grappling with a multifaceted crisis. From cracked roads and burning EVs to lives lost to heatstroke, the heat exposes the fragility of the nation's economic, social, and political systems. As the CCP strives to project stability and progress, citizens bear the cost of unchecked ambition. The question remains, can China sustain its breakneck pace, or will this heatwave force a reckoning with its hidden truths? Share your stories of the heat in your city, and let's discuss, what can we do to prevent a greater disaster? China isn't just battling the heat, it's confronting the cracks in its own system. The time to act is now before the nation is consumed by the flames of indifference.
China turns into a furnace, heatwave hatches eggs, pops corn, and overwhelms crematoriums. From the southern coastlines to the northern plains, China is being scorched by an unprecedented heatwave that's melting not just roads, but reality itself. With air temperatures hovering near 40 degrees and ground-level heat reaching a blistering 81 degrees, parts of the country now resemble a live-action survival test. People say it feels less like summer and more like being trapped inside an industrial furnace. Sidewalks are so hot, they're melting the soles off sandals, gluing people's feet to the ground. Motorcycle seats are too hot to touch. Shoes have deformed, tires have burst, and videos show eggs frying on metal surfaces within minutes. One viral clip shows a man cracking an egg on the hood of his car. It sizzled instantly. But this heat wave isn't just uncomfortable. It's deadly. Heat stroke deaths on the rise. Even crematoriums struggling. Across China, cases of heat stroke are surging. In Xinjiang, Henan, a 37-year-old delivery worker collapsed and died on the job. Blood reportedly poured from his nose and mouth. Doctors said his blood vessels had burst from extreme internal heat. In Jiangsu, an elderly couple was found dead after refusing to turn on the air conditioner to save on electricity. State-run media tries to downplay the crisis, but social media tells a darker story. Videos and posts hint at long lines outside crematoriums. Netizens whisper about cover-ups, about deaths unreported and warnings left unsaid. At Qingdao University's Fushan campus in Shandong, a dormitory manager collapsed inside a 6-square-meter duty room without air conditioning. The room reportedly felt like a pressure cooker, with temperatures topping 40 degrees. Meanwhile, over 100 students in Yantai suffered heat-related illnesses. One reportedly died. This isn't just heat, it's mass medical emergency. Eggs hatch themselves. Corn pops in the fields. What's next? China's heatwave has sparked bizarre and apocalyptic scenes. In Yantai, farmers were stunned to see corn kernels popping in the field, literally turning into popcorn under the blazing sun. A viral Douyin video showed an even weirder sight. A woman returned home after 2 days to find her house overrun with baby chicks. She had left 3 boxes of eggs on the floor, thinking they might rot. Instead, 70 out of 90 eggs hatched, cooked by the 40°C indoor heat. People online are losing it. This isn't weather, one netizen joked. It's an alchemy furnace. The government's trying to refine us into immortals. Desperate measures. Shade becomes gold, and water is a luxury. In major cities, crowds are cramming into malls and metro stations just to escape the heat. Stores are offering free ice water, fans, and even letting people lie on the floor. Workers are fainting on the streets. Cities like Hangzhou and Nanjing have rolled out cooling shelters, but they are overwhelmed. Construction workers, street vendors, and delivery drivers are most vulnerable. Some are collapsing mid-shift. Others have started sharing photos of ice packs strapped to their backs, or even pouring water into their shoes to stay upright. The heat is still rising. Meteorologists warn this may be just the beginning. July and August are traditionally China's hottest months, and if global patterns hold, more extreme temperatures are expected. And with China's aging population and fragile energy infrastructure, experts fear the death toll may rise further, especially if people continue to avoid using air conditioning due to fear of high bills. As one viral comment reads, "We used to fear floods and earthquakes. Now it's the sun that's killing us." The internet exploded with jokes. "I was gonna eat them, now they'll eat me," one user quipped. Another said, "Guess those eggs really weren't fake after all." Skeptics chimed in. "Eggs need 21 days to hatch. 2 days? Come on." Clean World's Third Eye revealed shocking video clips of the high-temperature chaos. Roads cracking open, flip-flops melting into asphalt, electric vehicles, including police cars, bursting into flames and tires melting mid-drive, leaving streaks of black rubber behind. "This isn't a summer," netizens repeated. "It's an alchemy furnace." In Wuhan, people use thermometers to test surfaces. Stone piers reach 56 degrees, metal window frames 52 degrees, and bicycle seats a blistering 81 degrees. Some even fried eggs on their car hoods. Besides, in Jiefeng Park, the display read 47.3 degrees, while a boy joked in a viral video, "They say it's 39 degrees. I'm burning alive." In Shandong, a July 5th video showed farmers drying corn in the open. Kernels left in the field popped into real popcorn under the 43-degree sun. "No seasoning needed," the blogger joked. "This is pure, natural, piping hot popcorn." Meanwhile, dozens of streetlight solar panels burst into flames. Videos captured white smoke, blazing sparks, and fires igniting the dry roadside weeds. The blogger warned, "Even the solar lights can't take it. What kind of heat is this?" Then came the twist. On July 7th, Jinan, after baking for days, was suddenly hit by violent winds. The sky blackened like night, hurricane-force gusts ripped through the streets, and trees were uprooted. By 5 p.m., 508 million cubic meters of rain had fallen, equal to 424 damming lakes. Netizens gasped, "It's like the sky broke. Is this Jinan's judgment day?" The Third Eye warned that natural and man-made disasters now strike China with brutal frequency. Once-in-a-century phenomena have become disturbingly common. According to ancient belief, these are omens. Heaven's wrath. The CCP has committed countless evils, and now the heavens deliver retribution. But because the CCP is composed of Chinese people, the punishment also falls on those who follow it. Finally, the Third Eye urged Chinese people to wake up. Only by cutting ties with the CCP, by withdrawing from the party, youth league, and young pioneers, can one find safety amid disaster. The message, reject the devil, embrace the truth, and heaven may still protect you and your loved ones.
A recent hard-hitting commentary warned that China's electric vehicle dream is turning into a dangerous bubble on the verge of collapse. Lavish subsidies, brutal price wars, and shady sales tactics have made it unsustainably costly to boost EV sales. Titled, "China's Electric Vehicle Bubble is About to Burst," with the subtitle, "BYD is in a Bubble," the article highlights that while China sold over 12 million electric and hybrid vehicles in 2024, many Western automakers now view the industry as overheated and heading toward a major crash. BYD, the crown jewel of China's EV sector, remains the world's largest EV manufacturer, but its aggressive and relentless expansion has pushed the company into a dangerous state of overcapacity. It continues full-speed production despite faltering market demand, a move the article labels as fatal. Meanwhile, new challengers like Xiaomi are flooding the market, escalating a cutthroat price war that even BYD can't escape from. Viral videos circulating on Chinese social media reveal a shocking reality. Hundreds of thousands of unsold electric vehicles are sitting idle in warehouses. Dealers are slashing prices in desperation, yet still failing to move inventory. Are these haunting images signaling the end of the era of cheap, low-quality electric vehicles in China? Adding fuel to the fire, Germany's Die Welt recently exposed a troubling sales practice. BYD has been offloading vehicles to its own dealers and rental firms, reclassifying them as used cars, and dumping them back into the market at cut-rate prices, driving down the value of new cars across the board. Ferdinand Dudenhofer, head of the German Center for Automotive Research, slammed BYD's reckless entry into Europe, calling it a brand-damaging, strategy-less gamble. He warned that if a new car's value plunges below 50% within just 3 years, it spells financial disaster for consumers. Business Daily added that although Beijing is desperate to dump its surplus production overseas, China's EV exports are hitting a wall, crippled by high foreign tariffs, skepticism around made-in-China products, and rising global resistance. The commentary didn't stop there. It drew alarming parallels between the current EV craze and the spectacular collapses of China's solar, wind, and real estate sectors. Some entrepreneurs went as far as to liken BYD to Evergrande, warning that it too could implode. The message was clear. If China doesn't recalibrate fast, its electric vehicle boom could become a global bust, dragging down supply chains and reshaping the global auto industry. BYD and hundreds of thousands of electric cars rot in warehouses. Even dumping prices can't save them. Amid China's dazzling skyline of futuristic skyscrapers and high-tech factories lies a darker, dust-covered reality: mass EV graveyards. Hundreds of thousands of unsold electric vehicles, once hailed as the vanguard of a green revolution, now sit abandoned in massive lots, gathering dust like the ruins of a failed dream. I can't sell them. No one is buying. No one. The voice comes from a car dealership owner in Shenyang, a major city with over 10 million people. Yet his showroom remains empty. The cars he once proudly marketed as having everything, from 400-plus km range and vibrant color choices to record-breaking discounts, now simply sit, collecting dust, waiting to be forgotten. This isn't just his story. It's a reflection of China's auto industry in 2025, where a brutal price war is suffocating even the strongest players. But this crisis goes beyond economics. These EV graveyards are more than just the byproduct of overproduction or a bursting bubble. They've become a silent battlefield in a global tech war. BYD and Tesla, the twin titans of the electric vehicle era, are no longer just fighting over market share or innovation. They've become symbolic weapons in the power struggle between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping as China pushes to cement its place as a global tech superpower. China's electric car market has been spiraling downward since late last year. A weakening economy, cautious consumer spending, and a saturated market have triggered a dramatic collapse in car prices. New cars have become unprofitable. Used cars are now liabilities. One dealership owner confessed in frustration, 600 used cars are just sitting in the warehouse. The lease is almost up. If I can't sell them, I'll have to throw them away. The problem compounds itself. Falling new car prices make used cars almost worthless. Consumers, expecting even deeper discounts, hesitate to buy. Their behavior has changed. They now research extensively online instead of visiting showrooms. Meanwhile, dealers are drowning in unsold inventory with no way out. The result? A full-blown storm. What began as a competitive tactic among a few brands has become an industry-wide collapse. In this chaos, it's no longer the strongest who survive, but the quickest to adapt. Picture rows upon rows of unsold cars, from budget EVs to premium models, quietly decaying in warehouses. Even well-maintained vehicles are struggling to find buyers. With warehouse rents piling up, many dealers are forced to sell at a loss just to stop the financial bleeding. This is no longer a boom. It's a breaking point. Guangdong's manufacturing industry plunges into a deep freeze as foreign giants pull out. As the global economy falters and international trade tensions escalate, Guangdong's once thriving manufacturing hub is being battered by a fresh wave of bankruptcies and closures. On June 30th, two major players, the long-established export-driven Nanhai lighting factory in Foshan and a renowned foreign enterprise in Dongguan, issued shutdown notices announcing the end of operations. Insiders reveal that shrinking demand from the US and Europe has decimated export orders since the start of the year. Many now predict that nearly half of Zhongshan's lighting manufacturers may go under by year's end. Hit hard by the collapsing global economy and intensified US trade pressure, Guangdong's industrial engine is sputtering. On June 30th, the Foshan Nanhai lighting factory released an open letter citing global instability, economic downturn, and insolvency as reasons for its immediate closure. The factory, once a regular presence at major international trade fairs and renowned for its high-quality products and loyal overseas clients, will now settle debts and cease all operations. Ms. Chen, a business consultant who once accompanied the factory to the Hong Kong International Lighting Fair, was heartbroken. They had a loyal customer base abroad. It's truly heartbreaking to see them go, she told the Epoch Times on July 3rd. Ms. Chen noted that since May, overseas orders in the lighting sector have nosedived. If we hadn't pivoted to the domestic market in time, we wouldn't have survived either. She warned that Zhongshan is on track to lose nearly half its lighting factories this year. Meanwhile, other factory owners are already shifting operations overseas. Mr. Tan Dalin, who ran lighting and foreign trade businesses in Beijing and Changsha for nearly 20 years, announced he's halting production in China to focus on his plant in Vietnam. The US-China trade war has hit us harder than the pandemic, he said. Even with faster logistics, there are no orders, and tariffs are too high. It's just not sustainable. Foreign invested firms are faring no better. On June 25th, Canadian tech giant Celestica's Dongguan branch, Tianhong Technology, announced it would dissolve by the end of June and terminate all employee contracts starting July 1st. In its notice, the company blamed market changes and future strategic adjustments, promising to compensate workers in accordance with Chinese labor law. Authorities confirmed the dissolution filing has been officially recorded. Founded in 2004 with a registered capital of $32.5 million, Tianhong was based in Dongguan's Songshan Lake and served as an OEM powerhouse for global tech brands like IBM, HP, and Cisco. With a 236-acre factory and over 500 staff, it was once Celestica's crown jewel in South China. Globally, Celestica employs over 40,000 people and was once ranked among Business Weekly's top 100 IT firms. Ms. Wu, a former employee of a state-owned enterprise in Dongguan, said the collapse of Tianhong reflects a wider shift. North American clients are accelerating the relocation of production due to geopolitical risks. Factories are moving to Mexico, Vietnam, and Eastern Europe. China is no longer a priority. Made in China is now seen as a geopolitical liability in the West. And it's not just Foshan and Dongguan. Zhongshan, too, is seeing a quiet exodus. Several companies have had their industrial licenses revoked. According to the Zhongshan Municipal Market Supervision Bureau, licenses for Jinshengwei Paper and Fuying Daily Chemical were canceled for non-compliance with production requirements. While the notices don't mention bankruptcy, they expose the regulatory and survival pressures suffocating local manufacturers. Official data shows that in Q1 2025, Zhongshan recorded a net loss of 22 companies, many of which relocated to cities like Foshan, Guangzhou, and Zhuhai. It's a sign that Guangdong's industrial landscape is undergoing painful restructuring. Industry insiders are sounding the alarm. "It's worse than the darkest days of the pandemic," said one. "Factories dependent on foreign trade are being hit hardest." Ms. Wu summed it up. Trade wars, tariffs, rising costs, and vanishing orders are accelerating the de-China trend in global manufacturing.
China's summer of 2025 is not just a record-breaking heat wave on weather reports. It is a vivid portrait of a nation buckling under a multifaceted crisis. In Zhengzhou, Henan, temperatures soared to a staggering 44 degrees Celsius, shattering historical records. In Beijing, 38 degrees Celsius heat combined with suffocating humidity left people drenched in sweat within minutes of stepping outside. Yet the heat is more than a physical burden. It exposes the deep cracks in Chinese society, a faltering economy, crippling debt, and truths concealed by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, behind a polished facade. As citizens grapple with deadly heat and mounting hardships, one question looms. What is the CCP hiding behind its tightly controlled information curtain? Relentless heat. A summer nightmare. The summer of 2025 in China has been dubbed the furnace of the century. Temperatures in provinces like Henan, Shandong, and Jiangsu consistently exceeded 40 degrees Celsius, with some areas hitting 42 to 44 degrees Celsius, an unprecedented phenomenon in meteorological history. Even Mohe village near the Arctic Circle, known for its icy winters, saw temperatures climb to 35 degrees. According to China's Meteorological Administration, from July 11th to 17th, a widespread heat wave engulfed the north-northeast and northwest, with Shanxi, Hubei, and Chongqing enduring the worst. In Xi'an, an orange heat alert was issued, as surface temperatures surpassed 60 degrees Celsius, melting shoe soles and cooking eggs on car windshields in just 2 hours. The heat is not merely a weather issue, it is a direct threat to human lives. In Changsha, Hunan, the 120 emergency hotline dispatched ambulances 105 times in a single week for heatstroke cases. Shenzhen recorded 122 heat-related emergency calls in 30 days with 9 severe cases. A doctor at Changsha's traditional Chinese medicine hospital warned that heatstroke mortality rates can reach 70% if body temperatures are not lowered promptly. Rumors on social media claim a crematorium in Hebei processed over 160 bodies in 2 days, while a small county in Shandong had over 100 awaiting cremation. Despite the CCP's tight grip on information, these figures have leaked, raising fears about the true death toll from the heat. Farmers and crops. Parched fields and shattered dreams. The prolonged heat wave coupled with severe drought has dealt a devastating blow to Chinese agriculture. In Henan and Heilongjiang, once lush cornfields are now cracked barren wastelands with withered crops and stunted stalks. A Henan farmer lamented, "Even if it rains now, it's too late. The corn has lost its color, the harvest is gone. Many farmers face total crop failure, pushing them deeper into debt and poverty. Heaven have mercy on us. Give us a way to survive," cried farmers amid their desolate fields. But rain has not come, and hope is fading. Some have abandoned their land, too disheartened to continue farming, calling it too terrifying. Meanwhile, food prices have skyrocketed due to supply shortages hitting urban residents hard. This crisis is not just a natural disaster, but a consequence of poor resource management and local authorities' preference for boasting achievements over addressing realities. Economic collapse. A nation. Drowning in debt. While the heat scorches bodies, an economic crisis strangles the spirit of millions. Statistics reveal that 820 million Chinese are in debt, with 400 million unable to repay. National debt has surpassed $2.8 billion, and an estimated 5 million homes will be foreclosed in 2025. Housing prices have stagnated, companies are collapsing en masse, and unemployment is soaring. A 53-year-old man in Guangzhou, once the owner of 7 restaurants, now owes 2.23 million yuan and lives in destitution. "I never thought I'd end up like this," he said bitterly. "Young people are not spared." A 36-year-old born in 1989 owes 800,000 yuan and describes creditors' daily calls as a hand choking my throat. According to Nielsen, 86.6% of Chinese aged 16 to 59 are in debt, with those born in the 1980s and 1990s hit hardest. Many who once dreamed of wealth, luxury cars, and grand homes now face crushing mortgage and credit card debt. A couple in Changde, who once earned $140,000 monthly from steel trading, now owes over $140,000 after the real estate sector collapsed. Unemployment and despair. From scholars to delivery workers, soaring unemployment is driving millions into despair. In Jinan, Meituan delivery stations see hundreds come and go within months. One delivery worker shared, "I work 3 platforms earning at most 200 yuan a day, but a meal out costs 20-30 yuan. Even graduates from prestigious universities like Tsinghua or Peking are forced into delivery or security jobs due to a lack of opportunities. A master's graduate from a top-tier 211 university jobless for 5 months was rejected even for a bubble tea job. I feel suffocated, like a hand is strangling me," he said. The lying flat trend, giving up on striving, is growing among youth who see opportunities shrinking despite their efforts. A 2001-born student in Suzhou lamented, "I was taught college would lead to a bright future, but now I'm just a mocked scholar, like Kong Yiji." Empty malls, symbols of decline. Once bustling shopping malls now stand eerily silent. In Jinan's Hanyu Jinggu, nearly every store has shuttered. A 6-story mall in Zhengzhou has only a handful of staff with a 1 customer 10 servers ratio. A curtain shop owner remarked bitterly, "Customers only come for cheap deals, but this whole area is a ghost town, pathetic." Tourism, once an economic powerhouse, is also crumbling. Zhangjiajie, a destination that once drew millions, is now deserted despite free entry. Rows of tour buses sit idle without a single visitor. A local resident exclaimed, "Every year this place was packed by now. This year, even with free tickets, no one's here." What's going on? The CCPs cover up secrets behind the curtain, while citizens battle heat and economic ruin. The CCP maintains an image of stability and prosperity through state media. Yet stories leaking on social platforms like Jihu reveal a starkly different reality. Discussions like, "With high unemployment and crushing debt, how can ordinary people survive?" have garnered millions of views, but are swiftly censored. Rumors of heatstroke deaths and suicides due to economic pressure are quickly deleted, yet they spread enough to fuel doubts about the crisis's true scale. A blogger noted, "From local governments to state enterprises, workers to students, everyone's drowning in debt. It's a knot no one can untie." Meanwhile, government efforts to stimulate consumption, like lowering interest rates or supporting agriculture, are mere surface fixes that fail to address the root issues. A Henan resident remarked bitterly, "They tell us to boost consumption, but with no money. How can we shop social psyche from helplessness to chaos?" The heat and economic crisis have pushed China's social psyche to a breaking point. In Hangzhou, suicides have surged, with reports of people jumping from buildings at South Station or onto tracks at East Station. Many are described as mentally unstable, shouting in the streets or acting erratically. One resident said, "People seem so stressed lately, maybe it's the economic pressure. Joblessness and debt are also fueling crime risks." A netizen warned, "When people are starving, who cares about laws? Theft, robbery, and scams will spike." In major cities, homeless people once gathered under bridges are now driven away by iron fences and spiked stones. A 60-year-old migrant worker in Wuhan said, "There's no work, and even eating is hard. I just want a meal, nothing more." China in a perfect storm. China in 2025 faces a perfect storm. Brutal heat, economic collapse, rampant debt, and crumbling social trust. From Henan's parched cornfields to Jinan's empty malls, from jobless graduates to bankrupt entrepreneurs, the image of a nation in crisis is undeniable. While the CCP tries to mask the truth with censorship and propaganda, the The stories of farmers, workers, and intellectuals are breaking through the silence. The question remains, can China weather this storm, or is this just the start of a darker era? As the heat burns away both bodies and hope the Chinese people await a rain, not just to save their crops, but to salvage their future. Will that rain come, or is it merely a distant dream in the furnace of 2025? If this story grips you, share it to spread the truth. What's happening in China is not just one nation's struggle, it's a warning for the world. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and join us in uncovering more untold stories. Your support fuels our mission to deliver raw, real-time truths. See you in the next installment.